we all know there's such a challenging job market. They have a huge bank loan that they took back home, and they're struggling to find a job. They're struggling to find their first break.
I hope it gets better, but I don't know if it's going to for a
Hmm.
while. And it may never return to the way it was just because of AI and the
Yeah.
uncertainty and everything. And so I think part of it is, you know, being as practical as possible.
Are you counting the easy apply on LinkedIn?
I think Easy Apply makes it too easy for all the people. Because I'm connected with a lot of recruiters now too, and they'll talk about how like, oh, I got 400 applicants for this job, but only
Yeah,
60 were qualified. If you'd have limited time to look, definitely look Wednesday
that's
mornings.
very interesting. Yeah. Get ready. How to find success in your career in this competitive landscape. Cassie, I know you had a vacation recently and you were in Canada. How was that trip?
That was fun. Yeah, I my husband went backpacking with a friend while I hung out with my daughter in Calgary for like 4 days, and then we met them in the mountains in Banff, and it's gorgeous up there. It
Wow.
was a good time. We went in August, which is like the most expensive time to go during the year, but it was beautiful weather, gorgeous place. We
Yeah.
kept looking up real estate, like, oh, we should live here, and it's completely unaffordable, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, you already live in Colorado. For me, that's like the one of the most beautiful places in the US. Living in Texas, we don't have any natural beauty, but we do have a lot of other things. Was it even prettier than Denver, Colorado?
It just, well, so the food was better, in my opinion. There's a lot more diversity, a lot of, there were a lot of different cultures there, so the food was better
Yeah.
in Denver. So that kind of was a plus for me. And then the mountains are just striking. So they're actually
Wow.
shorter mountains there. Here, there's no 14ers in Canada,
Yeah.
and there's the mountains are much taller, but there it's just the way that you're kind of in one of the towns, you're just surrounded by these mountains on all sides, kind of. And so it's just it's just striking to be there, where here
Yeah.
it's a little less, I don't know. And I grew up here, so maybe that, I'm biased, but
Yeah.
it's very humbling, I say, up there a little more.
That sounds super cool. Yeah. For me, my favorite thing to do in summer is go to Colorado and in winter go to Florida, just enjoy the warmer
Right.
weather. Yeah, but yeah, that is very interesting. And you mentioned affordable vacation. That is very important. So I almost made it a fact, like my family and I, we don't try to travel on the long weekends.
Mhm.
We are like, okay, sure, one extra day, but it's still not worth it. Too much
Mhm.
crowd, expensive flights, and then you always have these flight delays, especially Frontier is very notorious. I stopped traveling through Frontier, but oh my God, Frontier
Yeah.
Airlines, I know their headquarters is in Colorado.
Mhm.
They have a
Yeah, no, they're not great.
they're not great by
No.
any means. But yeah, I'm glad you had a vacation. It's
Yeah.
so important, especially for young kids to go and experience other things.
Yeah.
And I love that awe or fascination when I'm able to take my daughter to some cool places. And that's something very interesting, which like I like how kids react to things, right? Like as adults, we become kind of boring. For
Mhm.
example, I remember when my daughter was first time trying some new food, or when she saw an elephant in person, and then her reaction is just
Yeah.
priceless.
Right. I know. And
So
just the way that they talk about things. And yeah, it's really cool to see. And it brings you into the moment more than you would have already been.
yeah, yeah, it's such a blessing to have them. But
Mhm.
also like our daughters are both 2 years old, right? Yours is also two.
Yeah.
So they are correct when they say terrible twos. Like the kind of drama she's been putting in these days, it's difficult to handle few some days.
I know. I keep saying the toddler emotions. Oh man, it's just the emotions are very, very real.
Yeah. And Cassie, I want to also know about your new company where you've joined Hedy and Hop. I saw your founder and CEO. She's very cool, and she's doing some marketing podcasts as well. I saw she has a very fun vibe and she's very knowledgeable. But how has been your experience so far, and what do you guys specialize in?
Oh, I wanted to work there, so I found it. I found the marketing analyst position, and then I found Jenny, the CEO, and I was watching her podcast and watching, just watching the there's just so much brilliance in the way she talks about it and how much, she's been involved in healthcare and marketing and everything and starting a business and everything. And then keeping up with the podcast and everything. So I was like, I want to work with her and for
How do you
her and
manage your
there and
time?
everything.
Yeah.
So I ended up, I think I found the job on LinkedIn and then went to the website and I found the HR email and reached out to them directly and, got kind of, pulled into the shuffle of
Yeah.
everything and then, you know, had a few interviews and worked my way into it. But yeah, no, it's been great so far. I mean, everybody's super nice
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm really excited. We're doing well, I don't know how much I can say about it. So we're just doing we have some partnerships coming up with some important healthcare
Hmm.
vendors. So I feel like I'm going to be part of, I'm going to have an opportunity that is not going to come every day. So I'm excited to get involved in that and get,
Yeah.
deeper in healthcare and understanding, HIPAA compliance and all the marketing regulations around HIPAA. And so,
Mm.
um, and just be knowledgeable on that. So I'm excited. I kind of, I think I always say, to people that, especially analysts, like
Mm.
finance and healthcare are probably the two stablest, industries you can work in.
100%.
And so, I don't want to be in finance. So healthcare it is. But I mean, I worked in healthcare my last job too. So to me, I just like it because it feels like, I like being an analyst, but then if I can help, support an industry that is as much as you want to think it's not the best it could be in this country,
Yep.
but if I can at least help support a way that people can get, better health, support and, things that they need to be able to reach, that makes me feel better. So,
Yeah. No, that's great. I also used to work in a healthcare company, and we were a nonprofit in Minnesota. Similar to your company, there were a lot of women employees. I think we had over 70% of our employees were women.
yeah.
And something I noticed is that there was less toxicity in the company. It's just that just comes as an advantage when you're working in companies where there are more women.
Mhm.
And that was one of the best parts working in the company. Like, I didn't feel like anyone was like backstabbing or trying to hamper your growth.
Mhm.
Everyone in the company was trying to set you up for success. And that was
Yeah.
like the highlight working there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's definitely how I feel here. And I mean, that's, in this economy, we're all trying to just find a job. But
Yeah.
if you can find something or find somewhere that you feel like, okay, now I'm going to be supported and I'm going to be able to kind of stay here for a little bit while I get my bearings and then hopefully just like
Yeah.
shoot off and, bring a lot of value and everything. That's the hope and the dream. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, work is already so stressful, and then we all have duties in our personal life. The last thing you need is like unsupportive coworkers or, toxic management. So it does add a lot of value. I
Mhm.
I think maybe I'm referencing your own post on LinkedIn where you said, yeah, it's sexy to work for a tech company, but
Yeah.
sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture. You have to look at all the different factors and make the right decision,
Mhm.
because a lot of time people don't research the industry, don't research the company. They're just like apply, apply, apply. But I
Mhm.
think there comes a certain stage when you have to think about how your next job might affect your family as well, and try to find a better fit.
And your
That's
growth. I mean, when I got my job, I had three offers that same week, and I said
wow.
no to the other two.
Mm,
This is the one I wanted, and one of the
yeah.
other things I had interviewed for was a sexier company, and they were willing to pay more, and it was contract, but it was a longer term contract. But I was like, I could go with this, and it'd be sexier, and I'm sure I'd learn just as much. But like
Yeah.
my gut and my heart was like, but this company, this Hedy and Hop company, like this is where I'm supposed to be right now. And I'm like, when I interviewed for it, I was excited and the whole
Yeah.
process was great. And I was like, I didn't feel that way about any other job I was interviewing for. And
Yeah.
so that's all the information you need.
Yeah, people need employees like you, and so that's I'm the same. I start working for a company, and I become passionate for it very quickly. I
Mhm.
remember in my first month, and I started working for Lennox. One of the marketing managers was joking with me, "Hey, let's go out and get tattoos," and I thought he was being serious. So, Cassie, you also took a break from your career last year, and then you were trying to find a new job. Uh, we all know there's such a challenging job market. I know I have friends who have been trying to find a job, but the economy is really slow. And then I also know a lot of foreign students who come here just like I did. They did their masters here. They have a huge bank loan that they took back home, and they're struggling to find a job. They're struggling to find their first break. So it's a very difficult market for job seekers. And let's talk something about that and what has helped you. And
Yeah, no, it's rough. It's so rough. And I went through it and I hope it gets better, but I don't know if it's going to for a
Mhm.
while. And it may never return to the way it was just because of AI and the
Yeah.
uncertainty and everything. And so I think part of it is, you know, being as practical as possible. So understanding it might, so I've already, my husband and I both got new jobs and I'm already like, okay, someday we might get laid off again. Just kind of assume it.
Yeah.
Let's set up savings. So
Is
part
he
of it,
also in the marketing field? Sorry, to
no,
interrupt.
no, he's a software test engineer. So he's
Okay.
technology adjacent, which is why we were both
Yeah.
impacted in different ways. But no, I think so. Definitely kind of being realistic and
Mm.
practical as it about it as possible,
Yeah.
is a good first step. But I know it's really hard because emotions can
Mm.
get so involved. So
Mm.
I think for me it was, definitely giving myself some time to go outside or take a break.
Yeah.
And like there were days where I would like scramble looking for a job, like I have
Mm.
to find a job today, and then the next day or that evening I'd be so exhausted, like nothing's gonna happen today, like chill, like go outside
Yeah.
on a walk. So your brain, or at least for me, my emotions and my brain
Mm.
just kind of got in there. So kind
Yeah.
of giving yourself a break and letting and giving yourself grace and letting
Mm.
yourself just like it's okay. Today was a weird day, and
Mm.
uh, I'm not gonna find anything today or tomorrow. So let's
Mm.
take the time that I need. I think for me, definitely Wednesday mornings seem to be the best day
Mm.
of the week, where the most new jobs had been posted
Yeah.
that more applicable to me. So if you'd have limited time to look, definitely look Wednesday
That's
mornings.
very interesting. Yeah.
And then be one of the first people who applies. I mean, it sucks, but
Correct.
like, so I would use whatever job board they had, and I would go on them, I would filter to the last 24 hours. I wouldn't look at a job that was posted longer than a day ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I would try to specifically go directly to the company's website and apply there.
Yeah.
And then, I do that once or twice a day. And so I was applying to 3 to 10 jobs a day, maybe.
Mm.
And I would hear back, I'd hear back from like
Are
20.
you counting the easy apply on LinkedIn? Are you counting that or excluding that?
I used it sometimes if I
Yeah.
couldn't find it anywhere else, or it seemed like that was what the recruiter was purposely trying to do.
Mm.
So I wouldn't not use it. I would,
Yeah.
if it's a job that you wanted, if it's a job you think you'd want, go somewhere else. Try to find it somewhere else first, whether it's on the company website or in a different job board.
100%.
If you can't, then use Easy Apply.
Yeah.
I think Easy Apply makes it too easy for all the people. Because I'm connected with a lot of recruiters now too, and they'll talk about how like, oh, I got 400 applicants for this job, but only
Yeah.
60 were qualified. And
And if
so
you have premium, you can actually see that. And I've seen that during the summer, early spring. I saw there were jobs like 800 people clicked apply, 900 people clicked apply. That was unbelievable
I
because
know.
2 years ago I've hardly come across a job that has more than 100 clicks, and now
Yeah.
you have close to 500,000 clicks, which is
Right.
insane competition
But
right now.
but don't I think but don't just don't not apply for it. If it's a job that you're qualified for and
Yeah,
could want to do, still apply for it because there's enough recruiters out there that are like, oh yeah, there were only 50 people qualified for this job. So
yeah,
and even if it was posted in the last 24 hours. So always apply, even don't let it, yourself get discouraged.
mm,
But but then be realistic about the fact that like, yeah, you're gonna have to apply for a lot of jobs. You're gonna have to interview a lot. You're gonna have to prepare for these interviews.
mm,
I was preparing for 30 minutes at least for each, serious interview that I had.
yeah,
A lot of conversation, a lot of building my interview skills. When
mm,
I went into it, the first few interviews, I mean, they were fine, but like I got to a final round with one job that I wanted, and they
mm,
said that I kind of stumbled over some of my answers at the end of it, and so they went with somebody else. And I'm like,
mm,
oh, bummer. Okay, well, let me figure out how to not stumble over my answers
mm.
for the next one. So a lot of it too, if you can think of it as, I mean, it sucks and it's hard, but if you can think of it as you're just building the steps. You're just practicing. You're going to get better. And then someday when you interview for that job that you want or that, you're going to
Yeah,
end up getting,
mm,
you're going to have practice enough and you're going to know what to talk about and you're going to be so impressive. They're going to be like, "Oh, wow, when can you start?"
yeah,
So I think that's just try to keep that in mind and I know it's hard you can get discouraged, but it's all towards it's all a means to an end. You're gonna
Yeah.
get there. You're gonna
Every
get it done.
failure is a stepping stone, and every day is a new day. So you just have to hope that, okay, today might be my day. I think that's the
Yeah.
best advice.
Yeah. And then just, spend time with family, spend time
Hmm.
with friends, try to stay sane, pick up a hobby. Like I'm a mom, so I was like, well, I don't have time, but not if you're single or, you don't have that many other
Yeah.
abilities, like, do another hobby or paint your house or something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
find something that gets you out of your brain and out of that mindset of, the job hunt
Yeah.
and gets you out doing something.
100%. Like when I have a very busy day, I somehow try to take out my daughter to a park. It just relieves both of our stress, and some small things like that, a quick break does help.
Mhm.
I would also suggest like being honest is very important in job interviews, but at the same time, for example, say I saw a job position which mentions Tableau. Now, I have used Power BI and Click, but I don't know Tableau. But I think I should still list that in my resume and maybe being honest about it during the interview. But listing that might let AI pick me for that job interview. So I think that is also one advice. And what are your thoughts on that? Would you agree?
I know that one's tough. I think for me, I wouldn't be comfortable putting something on my resume if I
That's how
hadn't
I was.
if I hadn't at least
Yeah.
seen it. So like,
Yeah.
there's so many free resources out, right? So like just go watch a video, a 10-minute video that introduces you to the interface, right? And then understand how it is the same thing as something you've already done, right? So like
Yeah.
I have not worked in HubSpot much, but I've
Mm.
worked in CRM, Salesforce. And so I know they're different things, but
Yeah.
the end goal is similar. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I know I could work in both because once again, it's the business decisions that matter and supporting and driving the business is what your job is. So you want to be able to use the tool that gets that done.
Yeah.
So I say it sucks that you have to get through the gatekeeper that way, but
Yeah.
as long as you are comfortable with talking about it or, you've seen the interface or worked in it a little bit or you can kind of bridge that gap,
Yeah.
I'd say you do what whatever, you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Somebody that you can talk to somebody about.
Yeah. Cassie, I love how articulate you are, especially when you write something. I would advise my listeners to go check out your LinkedIn posts. They are very inspiring. And sometimes they're humorous. I saw one of your job tips was that if you are worried, like you might wear the same shirt to a
Yeah.
interview with the same company, just decide the shirt colors. And that was so interesting and
Right?
something that actually eases the situation.
You
So
don't have to think about it.
you have so many helpful tips there, so I would also encourage our listeners. So, Cassie, it was great talking to you about the marketing analyst role challenges and then about the competitive landscape in the job market. I hope you will come back to our channel again. We can have a deep dive into another topic. What was your experience today?
Yeah, no, it was great. Thanks for having me, and it was great to talk about, the job market right now. My heart goes out to everybody still fighting it.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get something, I promise. Just keep going. And marketing, we can talk about marketing analytics for years. So I'm sure if we were to talk about it in another like 6 months, it would be completely different. Or there'll be something new that'll,
Definitely something new.
have shifted. So that'll be fun. But yeah, no, I enjoyed our conversation.